Hey everybody, it's Brittany. I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I love to read. I've been reading since I was a little kid, started with like Harry Potter and Goosebumps, Percy Jackson. What are some of the other things I read as a kid? Junie B. Jones. I have every single Junie B. Jones book. They are classics. My absolute favorite genre is fantasy. I love to try to talk about the books that I read, and I thought it would be really, really fun to not only talk about some of my favorite books, but to pair a tarot or oracle deck that I feel like gives that vibe. So I'm going to go through. I have with me 6 books that I paired a deck with, and I'm just going to, talk about my favorite book and show y'all the deck, and just, if you've read any of these and you think that I'm like completely off, or just, let me know. I would love to know if y'all have any decks in your collection that give off the same vibes as some of your favorite books. I'm going to jump in and start with my absolute favorite series, and that is the Throne of Glass series. I am sure a lot of people know who Sarah J. Maas is. Her A Court of Thorns and Roses series is super, super popular, but Throne of Glass is by far, hands down, her best series. I said what I said, and I will die on that hill. Throne of Glass is her absolute number one freaking series. It is incredible. The world building, fantastic. The characters, amazing. Complex. Their energy is just brought through in the pages. The way that they talk to each other are just The main character, and the way that she can go from this, this is a bunch of novellas that begin before the main book, The Throne of Glass. This is technically the first book, but this is a bunch of novellas of things that happened before this book. So I personally always recommend reading this one before this one. There are some purists who would argue that you should read up to Heir of Fire and then read this one, but I don't think so. I think you should just read this one and then go from there. There are 8 books in this series. And the way that Sarah J. Maas intertwines this first few novellas in with the entire series all the way up to Kingdom of Ashes, which is the last book, is just freaking perfect. It is beautiful. And the deck that I chose for Throne of Glass is, I will keep this out so you can see it. The Labanco Tarot. This is a super complex tarot deck, and the vibes from this...
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Hold on. Sorry about that. My husband just came back from my grandmother's. He was helping her put her pictures from her phone, the photos from her phone, onto her computer. So it took him a while. But the Labanco Tarot, for me, fits the Throne of Glass series wonderfully. Like, the scenes in these cards I could see in Throne of Glass. I mean, this one alone, if this doesn't give you the assassin in the desert vibe, I mean, right? It does, and it's incredible. So about the books. Throne of Glass starts out where Selena Sadorthian is in prison. She is a well-known assassin that got caught, and the prince of the kingdom, Dorian, has come to get her out of prison to fight for him in this competition that his father, the king, is having. It's for all the assassins in the realm to fight to become the king's assassin. I mean, look, that looks like Selena, actually. I really could see so many scenes when she's in the like pirate lord trying to free the slaves. It really does work. So anyway, sorry, I'm getting caught up, but so she enters the competition because if she wins, she'll have to be the king's assassin for like a few years, and then she'll like have her freedom or whatever. That's just like sums up the first book, really. And yeah, so this is a lot more to that. There are fae, there's magic, there's a lost kingdom, there's a lost princess, breaking that glass ceiling, huh? Yes, works. Kale finding some stuff out in Crown of Midnight and coming to that like realization and like, oh shit. The assassin, she's, you know, is one thing is like she always has a mask on. They didn't even know it was a woman until she got caught. So knowing something you don't know, which you feel like that throughout the entire series, or you think you know. You think you know. You're like, oh, I'm ahead of this, but you're not. There's so many just like aha moments when you're reading. Oh, look. The stag, that's an important symbol in the books, actually. So, yeah, this, it really does work. Her nightmares. If I talk too much about it, I will give some things away because, yeah. So I'm trying to stay as. Oh, this gives me Sam vibes. Sam. This deck, the more I flip through it, the more perfect it really does feel for Throne of Glass, and I am so freaking loving it. It gives me Dorian vibes later on in the series. Getting that fire-breathing bitch queen vibes. Ugh, yes. Reminds me of Dorian again. The glass castle. This Lorcan. I mean, goddamn. It really does work. So, yeah. If you've read Throne of Glass, what do you think? Is there a deck that you feel better fits? Let me know, because I'd probably buy it. Absolute banger of a freaking series. highly recommend if you haven't read it already. And it's a big one. It's a big series, but it's worth it. Next up, another one of my favorite series that I read last year. I read this last year and I still think about it. The Serpent and the Wings of Night. This is really freaking good. It pairs perfectly, of course, with the Tarot of Vampires because this book is about vampires. Book 1 of the Nightborn Duet. Both books have already come out, and there's also a novella, and I think there's like a spin-off series coming too with this. So freaking good. It follows a main character. I think I'm pronouncing her name right. I just kept saying Aurea. And she is a human that was raised by the like king of the vampires. And all her life she has had to learn how to fight and protect herself because she's weak. She's weak in this kingdom full of vampires. And she actually like rebels and is, you know, sneaking off at night to like kill the really bad vampires that are feeding off of the humans. It's a way, you know, to show that she's like powerful. And she's really powerful. And then, so there's going to be a competition, because of course there's going to be a competition. Thinking about it, I really like books with competitions in it, because the next one is also, okay, that's really funny. But the competition where if you win it, the goddess, I think it's like a goddess of night or something, will grant you a wish. And her wish is pretty much going to be like, she wants to be like tied to her vampire dad, to become like, I don't know. It was like this bond where, you know, she'll become super freaking powerful, and she has to team up with someone else in the competition to help her get through it. So they make a pact to get each other to the end where they'll end up having to fight each other. But it's a very sexy book. There are some very steamy scenes in it. So the sexiness that comes in with the Tarot of Vampires pairs so perfectly with this book. This right here reminds me, what's his name? I can't remember. Remember Aurea? Rain. Yeah. Rain. Totally looks like Rain to me. Bah. So yeah. It's an excellent series. I was even just floored at the end of this book. I was like, what? I mean, I should have seen it coming. I really should have. And I kind of did, sort of, but not fully. So that is always really fun for me, because I usually can guess the end of a book series pretty easily. So for me to be a bit surprised, yeah, freaking love it. It's sexy. There's vampires. There's a competition. There's a lot of political intrigue. And yeah, you're always waiting for Arya to like die. But she doesn't, because, you know, she's badass. So yeah, pairs perfectly. Serpent and the Wings of Night with Tarot of Vampires. If you love this deck, you'll love this book. And if you love this book, you will love this deck. All right. Powerless. Another book I read last year in book club. that I'm in with my cousin and some of her friends. This book took me by surprise. I was not expecting to love this book so much. It is about a girl named Peyton. She is an ordinary, and she's living amongst all of the elites. So the elites all have powers, and the king like murdered all of the ordinaries, because they, he was saying like they have like a plague or something, and they were getting everybody sick, which, so her dad, who is a healer, he teaches her how to fake having powers. So she fakes being psychic, and that helps her get through, living around the elites. But something happens. She saves Prince's life, and then she gets thrown into a competition. The deck that I chose is the Rebirth Tarot. I chose this deck because in Powerless, there's a lot of like grief. There's a lot of heartbreak. There's a lot of emotions, and I feel like the Rebirth Tarot really has that tenfold. There's a strong enemies to lovers to enemies in this book that is fantastic. There are no sexy scenes at all, but the chemistry and when these two characters are together, you feel that kind of like, you feel it. You feel their connection really well. I kind of did guess the ending a little bit, but I was heartbroken. This book made me feel a lot of things. The second one, no, there's Powerless. The novella follows this other character. It's called Powerful. But the actual second book in this series is called Reckless. It just came out a few days ago, and I just got it in because I had pre-ordered it, which I rarely pre-order books, but I loved this book so much. And there's no sexy scenes in it, which is surprising for me because I like my sexy scenes, okay? Don't judge me. Again, Throne of Glass doesn't have any real, like, big sexy scenes in it either. I mean, there's, like, a little bit when you get closer to the end, but not really. Not like her other series. Anyway, we're not talking about Throne of Glass. We're talking about Powerless. It's really freaking good. I always feel like when I'm reading, like, enemies to lovers, you always like, oh, if they just get over their ego, they wouldn't be enemies. But no, in this book, you can see how they are straight freaking enemies. And watching their connection and knowing that what and then how it ends, you're just like, you really feel that enemy aspect. You're like, yeah, they have a real big reason to be against each other. So when they come together, it's just, yeah, it's really good. And this deck gives me constantly having to like think and be on your guard, a lot of grief, a lot of heartache. This Rebirth Tarot has that, I think. And it definitely it gives me Powerless vibes. Yeah. I really love this book. It surprised me, so just like this deck surprised me and how freaking good it reads. I will say though, this deck feels sad. But I think the artist made this after a bad breakup. And if you know Powerless, it's a bad breakup. It's a really bad breakup. Okay. Up next, I'm actually... Okay, do I do something really fun or do I do something more serious? Let's go fun. All right. Now, technically, this is the second book in the series because I let my sister borrow the first one, and then the bitch goes and moves to Tennessee and doesn't give it back, and I'm still salty about it, but... Ice Planet Barbarians. Don't judge me. All right, don't judge me. But I fucking love this series. There's a shit ton of books. Not only is there at least, I want to say at least 12 books in this series, they go on to have like 15 more, and there's in like, it's the same planet, you just go to a different little village, I guess, and there's so many more, and they're still being written, so this is a huge freaking series, but it's a lot of fun. I will say after like the 6th or 7th one, you get the theme, and so you kind of like it can get a bit repetitive. Is that the right word? Yeah. Okay. I'm using the right words here. It can get really repetitive, but it's a lot of fun. It's just, it doesn't take itself seriously. And I think the perfect deck that goes with Ice Planet Barbarians is the Cosmic Cunt. I mean, when I tell y'all, I immediately thought of this deck thinking about this book, this series. It's so good. Okay, so Ice Planet Barbarians, it's about these 12 girls who get abducted by aliens, and then the ship crashes and they end up on this ice planet where there are these sexy blue aliens that need mates. Okay, I'm not gonna giggle. Okay. So, yeah, there are these, like, in order to survive the ice planet, you need to get this, like, cooey put in you. They call it cootie. And when you get a cooey, your cooey will match with one of the barbarians, making you their perfect mate. And there's a lot of sexy times in these books. That's pretty much what they're for. If you want to read about having relations with 7-foot tall big blue aliens, you will love this series. Cosmic Cunt is the perfect tarot deck to go with this series, I feel like. I mean, there's aliens, there are dildos, it's in space, you know, it works. I don't really have much else that I can say about Ice Planet Barbarians, but I don't know, there's something about reading just an off-the-wall book that just is like a palate cleanser, especially after reading these big, huge fantasy series. And then, like, in between, just reading something that it does not take itself seriously. It's purely just fun and smut. And yeah, I love doing that. I love reading just the silliest stuff in between all these big epic fantasy books. And yeah. Ice Planet Barbarians with the Cosmic Hunt. Perfect. All right. What's next? I have 2 more. I'm going to go serious, so that way I can end on a cozy note. The magic system in Babel is so freaking cool. I'll say that. What I didn't like about the book was I felt like the author, instead of showing me things, she would tell me things. Instead of showing all of the racism and classism and the wrongness of a lot of stuff that happens in the book, she's just telling me how I should feel instead of letting me come to the conclusion myself. It was almost like she didn't trust that I would get there. It's like, I see what you're putting down. I'm picking it up. You can stop throwing it down because I'm getting tired. It's a big book. I think there will be a second one because it ended where it could either stay open or keep going. I'm not sure if it's going to be. It might not. It'll probably be a standalone, but it follows a boy named Robin who gets into this really prestigious college that teaches you magic. So if there is a magic school, Robin is Chinese, and you can definitely see the way people talk down to him. So they're pretty much like linguists. They study language. They'll study Greek, Latin, they all these languages to get to the root of the word or what they can use for magic. And so the deck that I chose for this is the Poesis, because this deck is all about words. I think that it fits perfectly. It has been a little bit since I read this, but yeah. You know what I'll do is I will flip through this and I'll read y'all the inside cover. Okay. Can I do that? Let's see. Robin Swift, orphaned by cholera in Canton, is brought to London by a mysterious Professor Lovell. There, Robin trains for years in Latin, ancient Greek, and Chinese, all in preparation for the day he'll enroll in Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, also known as Babel. The tower and its students are the world's center for translation and, more importantly, magic. Silverworking, the art of manifesting the meaning lost in translation using enchanted silver bars, has made the British unparalleled in power, as the arcane craft serves the Empire's quest for colonization. For Robin, Oxford is a utopia dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge, but knowledge obeys power. And as a Chinese boy raised in Britain, he realizes serving Babel may be betraying his motherland. As his studies progress, Robin finds himself caught between Babel and the shadowy Hermes Society, an organization dedicated to stopping imperial expansion. When Britain pursues an unjust war with China over silver and opium, Robin must decide. Can powerful institutions be changed from within, or does revolution always require violence? I really did want to love this book, and there are things that I did love about it. Especially, I thought the magic system. I wish that they went more into the magic system than they did, because I really felt like it was not even secondary. It was like third on the list of what, you know, Babel is really about. And if they would have made it more magical, maybe it would have been a bit more impactful. I mean, it definitely, you like I said, you definitely feel the racism, and you feel what Robin goes through, but once you feel it, it's like the author sums it up for you, you know, instead of just letting you feel it. It's like she had to explain it so you understood what you were feeling, instead of letting you feel it or letting you come to the conclusion, you know. It's really the best thing I can try to say that I didn't like about the book. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really good ending. I thought that it was a bit boring, parts of it. And I don't know, I felt like if they would have made the magic school a bit more, just more, I don't think it would have been as boring as it was. And, you know, I say all of that about the book. However, I can't stop thinking about it. And it's been over a year. It might even be almost 2. When did the book come out? Because I pre-ordered this book. So let me see. So I got it right when it came out. So what year was it? Was it 2022 or 2023? 2022. So this book came out 2 years ago, and I still think about it. So I mean, I guess I really did not like it. And I didn't like it. I liked it. It's just, I don't know. I felt like the magic system was super freaking cool, and she should have went more into it. And poesis, getting to the root of the word, right? Getting that power, that magic from the word. I thought poesis went perfectly with the book. What I'm doing with poesis, because this is probably my ultimate all-time favorite oracle deck, I am creating my own book that goes with poesis, and it comes with a poem. So I've been writing down the poem in here. Yeah, it's been a lot of freaking fun. Yeah, it's a little sticky in places because what happened was I was messing up on some of the words, and so instead of like crossing it out or trying to white out it, I just put a piece of black over it and then wrote it in with white, and I thought it looked cool, so I just started doing it throughout the whole book. But I've been working a lot in here, and I'm afraid that it's gonna come, I'm afraid it's gonna come out. It's not good, right? Oh no, oh shit. Okay, I bet you my husband can fix that for me. Or, you know what, maybe I'll just take them out and redo it. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm really loving this. I think I got up to the J's. I need to get back to it. What did I get to? No, P's. I got up to the P's. So, you know, I'm more than halfway there. All right, Legends and Lattes. This book is such a freaking vibe. It is charming and sweet. That that feeling of like cuddled up with a nice warm beverage, coffee, because you definitely want coffee reading this book. Did I say next to a fire? I probably did, but it just has those really cozy vibes. It follows a main character who, oh shit, what's her name? I'm horrible. Viv. So Viv has always been just like an adventurer, going out on quests for money and doing all these epic adventures, but she's ready to retire and she wants to open up a coffee shop. So she picks the most like perfect place to move to, and you follow her like buying this cute little place and setting it all up, finding wonderful people to work with, and creating delicious beverages. You know, you get to watch her create like cappuccinos, and then there is a sweet little love interest in the book, and they get a little cute little baker. It's like a, oh, what was it? It wasn't like a little, yeah, it was a little mouse. This little cute mouse that's the baker who bakes up sweet little treats. Yeah, I love it. So the deck that I chose was Tarot of Tales. I really like that I read the back or the sleeve of the other book, so I think I'm going to do that again. I should have did that with all of them. I'm super sorry I didn't. But, okay. I thought Tarot of Tales went so perfectly with the world. A novel of high fantasy and low stakes. After a lifetime of bounties and bloodshed, Viv is hanging up her sword for the last time. The battle-weary orc aims to start fresh, opening the first ever coffee shop in the city of Thune. But rivals, old and new, stand in the way of success. Not to mention the fact that no one has the faintest idea what coffee actually is. If Viv wants to put the blade behind her, or axe, because it's actually a big old axe that she has, just saying. Okay, where was I? Wants to put the blade behind her and make her plans a reality, she won't be able to go at it alone. But the true rewards of the uncharted path are the travelers you meet along the way. And whether drawn together by ancient magic, a flaky pastry, or a freshly brewed coffee, they may become partners, family, and something deeper than she ever could have dreamed. A big-hearted story about the small things in life, and a lovingly written ode to the genre. A must-read for every D&D player who has ever wondered what happens after happily ever after. And Tarot of Tales. I mean, yeah, I think it works really nicely for the book. It's cozy, it's sweet, it's high fantasy. Look at that. I mean, I'm usually not a fan of borders, but I love these borders. I think it makes it just look even more fairy tale. Oh shit, some stuff upside down. I can't tell you how many times I craved a good cup of coffee while reading this book. And actually, what I did was I had bought the book, but then I heard that the author, Travis Baldree, is actually the narrator. So I got it on Audible and I listened to it. I have the second one as well, but I haven't read it yet. I need to, because it was really sweet. One of my favorite empresses too, because she's not just like, you know, sitting there. She's doing the work, which I think is wonderful. She's cultivating that garden with her beautiful dress and gloves. It's just great. So yeah, I mean, look at that. That goes, right? Doesn't it go? What do y'all think? While there are no orcs in the Tarot Tales, I still feel like a lot of the characters in here you could just see in Legends and Lattes. So that is everything that I have picked out. I feel like there are more. There are definitely more books that I could pair with some of my decks, but those are some of the big standout books that for me. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this long ramble. I hope that I did the books justice. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I hope y'all have a great day. Bye.